So that kid is smacking a disgusting snot-covered stress ball in a sock across every single surface that I touch, including the chairs, including the tables which we eat lunch at, where we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at. And he is, he's proceeding to drop his pants. Oh, security's coming. Oh, well, that situation solved itself. So many people use stress balls as a way to exert their extra energy that comes from being stressed, or to help them relax and cope. That is no different than the world of mental health. People use stress balls as a form of coping mechanism, and even as a form of moderate fun, and maybe just moderate exercise to get your grip strength a little bit better. But when I was in the mental hospital, something that we always loved to mess around with were stress balls, because they were, for lack of better words, fun. When we went throughout our days in the Psych Ward, we would often be confronted with the fact that it gets really boring. You're in either group therapy or free time throughout the entire day. And when you're not in group therapy, you're having free time where you are separated from electronics, like your phones and video games and stuff like that. Depending on the hospital, actually. I know for one of the hospitals that I was in, I was able to play video games occasionally. And I know that we were able to watch TV occasionally, but only under the supervision of another nurse or worker or PA, psychiatric assistant, and stuff like that. But in the times where we were by ourselves, like maybe during a lockdown, or maybe during a point in time where we are not we're not being observed, it gets really boring. And you have many things to do. You can read, draw, do puzzles, board games, cards if you have a roommate. But personally, I didn't like interacting with my roommates because my roommates were very different than me. So it was hard for us to relate with one another, and it's hard for us to talk with each other. And so I would just have a stress ball, and I would play catch with the wall. I'd throw the stress ball against the wall, and then I'd catch it, and then I'd throw it again. And I would do that on and on for hours. And I did it so much, my arms started hurting. And it's better than doing nothing, because I read the Chronicle. There's only so many times you can read the Chronicle of Narnias before you get bored, and you get bored with being in a mental hospital that you're just, I don't know, I have nothing else to do. I'm going to take the stress ball and beam it as hard as I can against the wall, probably pissing off the other patients, but who cares? And I would also sing, which was probably very annoying for the other patients. There was another patient in there who would like to sing as well. Something like, AK-47, Glock 11, something 9. Something like that, I don't know. But I was actually put in a room with him because my old roommate had been discharged, and so I had a free bed in my room, and they placed that patient with me because I was a good influence, or at least according to them, I'm a good influence. Newsflash, I'm not that good of an influence. I do a lot of really stupid, selfish things, and I don't think that a lot of the stuff I do benefits anyone, but apparently it benefited him. And he also introduced me to NF, so that was fun. But yeah, stress balls. We annoyed the hell out of one of the doctors. I think he was a therapist, because every time we would have group with him, we'd be like, so, can we get a stress ball? And they had this huge container filled with stress balls. It's like the size of a desk, and then it's not that deep actually. It's probably only about this deep, but it was the size of a desk, at the perimeter of a desk, and it was filled with stress balls. And by the time I was discharged, there were like 2 left. And I still have those stress balls buried somewhere underneath all my clothes. I did take home a pair of greens, which are hospital clothes. They're basically like oversized scrubs. But I still have a pair of greens, and I also have those stress balls that I talked about. We did have not the ability to. We were allowed to use homemade stress balls, which we made in group this one time, where we take balloon, I think. Yeah, we take a balloon, you put a funnel in it, you fill the balloon with rice, you tie off the balloon, and it's a little stress ball where you can like squeeze it. It's not as satisfying as the foam ball that we had, or as those plastic ones that we also had, but it was better than nothing. But it didn't bounce off walls, so that kind of sucked. And there was this one patient. He had his rice stress ball. He put it in a sock, and he would go around smacking it on like doors and the floor and his food and his face. And then he would dig his nose, and then he'd pick it up and he'll rub the snot on the thing, and then he'll freaking bop things around the place. And I'm sitting here like, so that kid is smacking a disgusting snot-covered stress ball in a sock across every single surface that I touch, including the chairs, including the tables which we eat lunch at, where we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at. And he is, he's proceeding to drop his pants. Oh, security's coming. Oh, well, that situation solved itself. But yeah, that was one of his pants didn't fall that far down though. He only took it off like a little bit of the way, and then one of the PAs was like, dude, I'm gonna say dude because I don't want to say his actual name, but he was like, I think it was a he. Yeah, I think he was like, if that pants, for every inch that I see, is one more day here. And obviously he's not being serious. He doesn't have any control over whether the patient gets discharged or not. But that made him stop, and he pulled his pants back up. So security didn't come. I was just joking about that. But yeah, stress balls. Stress balls have their place. And it was one of the most fun things that I could do, especially at a mental hospital. So, I know this is a little bit of a random video, but I hope you enjoyed. This is a bit fun to talk about, and it's been almost a year ever since. Yeah, it's been about a year, a little over a year, that I was discharged from my third stay in a mental hospital. So that's cool. And 300 subscribers, 100 subscribers per year. That's pretty cool. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ahoy ho, malamo pono.